Nigeria preparatory e-learning course today. We will start with the mock presentations from the different faculties. And I would love to say that it should be a sequence, but I guess I'll wait for whoever is available. But I think we could make do with those who are here already. And if there are any nominated groups that are available to present, they can indicate by the raise of their virtual hands. And we will give just in that order to those who are ready, and we will pick them one after the other. So just raise your virtual hand. We will do that. And then we'll get feedbacks. So let me just do this for you. And some of you who were here earlier will see that I'm using a very new system of doing things. Right, so the preparatory learning mock presentations will be 8 to 10 minute sessions. Each person, please restrict yourself, no matter how much information you've got, see how quickly you can deliver it within 8 to 10 minute sessions. After each session, we will do a kind of a feedback, which are feedbacks here. This is going to be structured in such a way that you will actually, I muted myself, you will feel supported in regards to that. So do not feel left out if you find out that you are actually about presenting and you feel that you are not ready, well ready. Please, there will be no sharp criticism against your ability to do things. Don't feel shy. And then we'll go back to, we'll then go on to the editing and using both the Mac machine and Windows, because I know that we'll start with Windows to see how we can edit videos, presupposing that people are comfortable creating the videos. And once we finish that, that would actually be what will take most of our time. Once we finish that, then we'll go on to sharing completed files. There are many ways by people who have been sharing files. I guess they are going to use the simplest. Maybe none of these fanciful ones will be the key thing. And then we will then take on each other about any various concerns throughout the training that you may feel you are uncomfortable with that needs to be addressed. And that's much of what we will do. Let me share a few ideas. Very likely free training that will follow after this, not sponsored by WACP, but myself, would be perhaps for those who want to use the PowerPoint for a lot of interactive teaching and to do what I have done here. For example, if you click on outside here, you're not going to proceed. And that is something that you can do to PowerPoint and restrict it to certain click events on the system. Right, you can also, let's bypass to these lectures. For example, you can see I just went on to lectures here, definitions and disease patterns of peptic ulcer disease. And then you can actually say, go to introduction, and it shows you that. I will disable that, but start again to show you something that I've just, and then if, for example, you want to make a kind of an interactive quiz, again, you can actually go to here. You need a quiz, for example. So let's imagine this student is very dumb and doesn't know about the etiology of peptic ulcer disease. And so you can say proceed to quiz. Now see what it looks like. Of these organisms which have been implicated in the etiology of peptic ulcer disease. And let's imagine that they choose the first one. You see, it says, oh, that's wrong answer. So let's go back again. And then, okay, let's say Naegleria fowleri, and that's wrong. Goes on again until they get it right and say, oh, good job, that's the right answer. And this, if you click outside, it wouldn't do anything, but when you can go back and then it does all over again. And let's go back to that quiz again and show you something. Go on to that place. Very good. And then it actually exits the course as well. So a little bit of many things you can do with PowerPoint, which are really very good for the teacher. If you're not given to IT, of course, don't bother, but I will definitely be available to train as many people as would like on a free tutorial after this. Good.
I'll share my screen. I'm Dr. Yahya Mohammed. I'll be presenting on behalf of Faculty of Laboratory Medicine. Can you see my screen?
Very well.
Thank you. West African College of Physicians. I'm presenting on behalf of Faculty of Laboratory Medicine, but I'm from the Department of Medical Microbiology. Now, for today, I will be taking us through the assignment. We'll present our group work. You follow me to listen. I'll be talking about antibiotics. Antibiotics are of different categories. We have cephalosporin, penicillin, quinolones, carbapenems, and aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides, the four most frequently used are azithromycin, clarithromycin, erythromycin. For cephalosporins, the commonly used ones are ceftriaxone, cefodoxime, and cefalexin. For the penicillins, the commonly used penicillins are benzyl penicillin, amoxicillin, and ampicillin. For the quinolones, the four most frequently used are ciprofloxacin, levofloxacin, and ofloxacin. For the carbapenems, the four most frequently used are meropenem, rotapenem, and imipenem. For the aminoglycosides, the four most frequently used are amikacin, gentamicin, and tobramycin. You want to know more about antibiotics? The first stage is you need to read more. Then you also need to ask your teacher. Also need to engage, to talk to anyone who is interested. It has been a wonderful journey, and I must appreciate my senior colleagues and colleagues, Worthy Works Limited, and also the West African College of Physicians chapter. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Okay, stop sharing and come on to the floor for feedback. Good. Dr. Mohammed, tell us what you felt at the end of this presentation. What good did you feel? What are the things you did right and you're happy with?
I'm happy with the fact that I'm able to morph. I'm also able to apply transition, and also I'm happy that I was able to apply timer in my presentation, although I couldn't time it.
No, don't go to that. We will come here. I'm sure many people are waiting to say something there, but it's great. Stay on your strengths. I think it's brilliant. And many of us don't want to celebrate how good we are. I think you were superb. I think the innovation you brought in with the different components was quite great. It's a significant idea which were generic to you. You did not copy anything. You did something that, I mean, from the ideas, you may have had your nascent capability, which you actually built upon on this presentation. So I think it was brilliant. I think you did very well. What would you do differently next time?
Well, I wish the transition timing was adopted. I was able to rehearse so that I could have. I wish I had more time. If I had rehearsed, I would have adjusted the timing so that it would be with my voice. I wish I had done a voiceover too. If I had done a voiceover, I would just have watched that slide.
I think you got everything right. So you see, you had insight as to the issues. So as a rule, putting a timer to your presentation actually has buttressed a point we mentioned, that people tend to read faster than they speak. So if you wrote it as though you were reading, you notice that you actually were lagging behind, and then it was transiting. So the person watching you will not. Oh, Dr. Samela, sorry, you're intercepting. Mute yourself up if you're not the person really. We want to concentrate on Dr. Dr. Mohammed. Right. So if you kept, just don't allow time transition on your slides when you're teaching. That way you allow time for your learners to actually catch up with the information you're passing, and then it wouldn't distract them. But if it moves quicker than you speak, then they would actually lose track, and they may be trying to find what was in the previous slide, and you would lose them. So very good. Just when you're producing the video, don't allow it to self-transit. Do it by yourself by clicking and moving it by yourself. If you can do it remotely so that you don't want to show that you're touching the part, brilliant, that is fine. But try your best to do that. And I think you would make a great presentation, and I'm looking forward to seeing your videos on the course. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed. Any comment for Dr. Mohammed?
My comment is just for thank you for doing it.
Yeah, I think my only comment to say that I really enjoyed is actually a mix of the various animation techniques that he demonstrated. Well done, Dr. Mohammed.
Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Anthony was saying something, was he?
Yes, I was also commending him for a brilliant job, beautiful job, and it was quite enjoyable.
Thank you very much. All right, Dr. Mohammed, lower your hand, and we go on to the next presenter, Dr. Joshua Ofoli.
My hand is up, please.
Oh, sorry, did I jump you? I thought. Yes. Okay. Okay, Dr. Gia.
Gia, not Gia. Gia.
Okay.
You are calling me yesterday. Please.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I think it's a very nice presentation by Dr. Yaya, but you should also remember, because when he was mentioning 4, you will see what appeared in the video were actually 3, not actually 4. When you just can't say, okay, 4 commonly used, but you see what appeared there were 3. But this was actually a nice presentation. Thank you. Over.
Thank you. Thank you
very much.
Nadia, my hand was up too. I just wanted to commend him and also observe, as Dr. Gia has observed rightly, when he was rolling out the antibiotics at the beginning, he mentioned amino glycoside, but he was listing macrolides. So it's good to listen to yourself and look at the contents, because he mentioned amino glycoside at the beginning. He mentioned amino glycoside, and what was mentioned was macrolide. So I think it's just to get the content to be correct also, in addition to the animation. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's perfect, because I think the reason was because it was self-translating. And well, you would have nothing to fear, Dr. Mohammed. You were great. You were great. Well done. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Right. So the next person is Joshua Ofoli, next to present.
Today we will be discussing an important family medicine tool, the Genogram. And so what is the Genogram? It's a tool that summarizes at a glance the family tree of a patient, and it gives you a quick glimpse into the family history of important medical conditions. And so, as an illustration, what you are seeing is the family genogram of Mr. AA, a patient that is shown in the first row, in the lowest row. And this genogram is showing you 3 generations. That of Mr. AA himself, next, that of his mother and her siblings, and then finally, that of his maternal grandfather. So what can we learn from this genogram? Again, let us start from our index patient, Mr. AA, who is a 35-year-old man that you have just diagnosed to be having open-angle glaucoma. And so you wanted to find out how strong is the predisposition to glaucoma in this family. And so you move on from Mr. AA to the next generation, and you see his mother, EA, who is actually deceased. He died from multiple myeloma, but before then, she was diagnosed of glaucoma. And you can see in the same color, her siblings. She had 5 siblings. The firstborn is BB, who is also deceased, but before dying, had glaucoma and was actually blind. Now, out of the 3 remaining siblings, DD, EE, and FF, you can see that EE had already been diagnosed of glaucoma. Now we move to the next generation. That's of his maternal grandfather. And you can see that his granduncle, HH, also had glaucoma and was actually blind before he died. And so using this tool, you can see that we can trace important events in the family. And this will give us an idea of what form of preventive measures we should institute for Mr. AA and his children, and indeed children's children. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect. You can stop sharing your screen and show your video so we can see you. Perfect. So what do you think? Thank you very much, Dr. Malomo, for such a beautiful, brilliant presentation. What, in your opinion, did you think you did well?
Well, I think I was able to morph properly at the beginning, bringing in the teacher and the topics. I think I was also able to morph, but not too satisfactorily.
No, don't go to the negative. Just stay on how good, okay, how good you did.
Okay. All right. I was able to use different colors for the different generations. And I think I was able to transit from one generation to the other.
Yeah, I think you did very well in terms of the morphing, particularly. One impressive thing is that I noticed that you've actually then been able to access that tool that was not many people knew were present on PowerPoint, which is what you used in morphing, which is great. Yeah. You also showed a transition that demonstrated that you actually instituted the color changes specific for what you were conveying, which is very good. So I think those were your strong points. And you were also deliberate in whatever you were saying, meaning that making sure that your statements were coming clear and for the slow learner to be well understood across was also well passed. So those were strong points. Now, what do you think you would do better or differently next time?
I would have loved the transition to be a bit more catchy when moving from one generation to the next. Okay. And possibly actually show some individuals in that genogram across the particular generation, like the firstborn, actually morphing also from the firstborn who had glaucoma and was blind to the firstborn in that generation who has also been diagnosed to be having glaucoma. So moving from one a particular patient in that family to another.
Yes, I actually believe you got it right. Maybe decreasing a lot of lines and perhaps showing gray-haired people and younger generations, which are available on the internet, would have conveyed your point quicker and drawn attention to those listening more. Relationships, distant relationships, talking great-grand, it's quite a difficult thing in medicine most times. So it's either you mention first generation or second generation or things like that. That may make it easier as well. So I think that is brilliant. Any other comment from anywhere? Just one or two observations, and then we can go on to the next presentation. Any other comment for Dr. Malomo on how to improve next time? I mean, I believe in the video that he will do for the course.
I think Yahaya's hand is up.
Yeah, Yahaya is waiting for, is he waiting to present or to?
Sorry, I'm waiting to present for laboratory medicine.
Oh.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dr. Lade. Good afternoon, colleagues and colleagues. Please, can you confirm if you can see my slides?
Confirmed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, class. I'll be taking you on lifestyle medicine briefly this afternoon. Lifestyle medicine is a very critical aspect of family medicine and is an evolving subspecialty in family medicine. For today, we want to concentrate on the following areas. We want to have an overview. We will look at the evolution of the subspecialty, clinical processes within the specialty, behavioral change in application of the principles of the specialties, and a core principle of connectedness, social network, and health. The basic fundamental principle for lifestyle medicine is the prevention and treatment and control of diseases. We do know that we basically have two classes of disease. Although most people look at lifestyle medicine to concentrate on non-communicable disease, lifestyle medicine principles can be applied to communicable diseases, such as HIV through behavioral change and diarrhea disease through health and hygiene. There are about 6 components of lifestyle medicine that I would briefly like to emphasize. The first is the importance of nutrition. Then we talk about exercise. Exercise is critical in behavioral change, and most people have difficulties in adhering to an exercise routine. Sleep is another aspect of lifestyle medicine that is critical to the well-being. What is stress? We have a simple definition of stress as occurring when the demands are greater than the resources to handle it. And this definition can be expanded as follows. There are 2 types of stress, basically acute and chronic stress, where acute stress occurs within a specified period of time and chronic stress occurs within a specified period of time. And there are screening tools that are available to be used to assess your degree of stress. Which screening tool have you used as an individual or have you used for your patient? The physiological wellness assessment tool is the commonest tool that can be abridged and shortened for self-assessment. Thank you, and over.
Thank you very much. All right, stop sharing your screen and come on to the floor for comments. All right, Dr. Foley, we need to see you. Well, okay, away with your shyness today. We have seen your face fully. Good, well done, well done, well done. How do you feel?
Well, I feel elated. It was a good exercise. I was able to hone and fine-tune some skills. Thank you for the tutorage.
I think you did brilliantly. I think there were lots of innovations there that were unrelated to the videos that we had demonstrated, meaning that you brought in your skills and built upon the foundation we had laid, and which actually tells me the innovation that we all have nascently buried within us. And you've just shown that. And I think it's brilliant output there. You've done very well. And there are lots of potentials for you to do lots more over time. What would you do differently next time?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, I underestimated the time required to make a thorough presentation. So I had to start scaling down on my expectations when I discovered that it would require much more time. So one has to consider the time to make very complex presentation. Secondly, I discovered that there were some basic differences in the Mac features you presented and Windows, and there were challenges with the unregistered and registered version of Windows. And my Windows for my older system did not have morphing, which I used for this presentation. So I had to improvise and get an effect that was similar to morphing. Because of the time constraints, I couldn't do some videos and other editing that might have improved the quality of the presentation.
I think nonetheless, it was brilliant. It was not bad at all. Any comments for Dr. Ofoli?
I think just to say it's actually a very good presentation. Again, maybe if you had time to also go through, you would have been able to match his voice or his explanation with the speed at which the slides were actually moving. I think that's one area to look at. Otherwise, I enjoy listening to you on lifestyle medicine introduction and looking at the key components. Well done.
I couldn't agree less. I think the clarity here and the take-home point is never put a timer to your slides. Just when you're teaching with it, don't put a timer, because then you're going to find that it's going to move before you finish what you're saying. Unless if you're putting a timer on a kind of something that is unrelated, you just want it to play while you quickly say some 1 or 2 words, then that you can pass it by. That will be brilliant. But great enough. I think that was fine. You will escape that temptation next time. Well done. Well done. Right.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. You're welcome to today's assignment. I'm going to talk today about the beauty of internal medicine. And internal medicine is the bride of medicine, the mother of all medicine, and touches all aspects of the human body. Internal medicine takes care of the respiratory system, takes care of the urinary system. Internal medicine also talks about the gastrointestinal system. And in internal medicine, we take care of the skin. Cardiovascular system is part of internal medicine. And of course, the endocrine system. But above all, we have the CNS, central nervous system. So having all these systems under internal medicine, I want to tell you something about neurology, the central nervous system. It is the engine of the body. It unifies every part of the human body and is the secret of success. And is the secret of great professors in this unit. Thank you so much.
Well, very good. Right, close the presentation, stop sharing and come on board.
There's another little one, if you don't mind.
Okay.
That one is short.
Go on.
Oh, sorry. Let me I should share. So I want to share with us thoughts on choice of career in internal medicine. Career choice is affected by a lot of things, including availability of trainers, training institutions, and the needs of the population. Do you know that we have less than 300 neurologists in Nigeria? And with a population of over 200 million, most of them will never see a neurologist in their lifetime. So I'm asking you, will you not rather become a neurologist? So I encourage you to consider neurology as a career today. Thank you.
Well, that is brilliant. Come on board, Dr. Birinus. Let's have a grill on you.
Yeah, no, I'm there. My video is on.
Very good. How do you feel?
Well, it's an eye-opener. I was really excited to know these things. In fact, there are things that I've been looking forward to, but somehow there was no time, and I never had a clue that such things existed. So after the first day, I started digging deep and looking for how to improve myself. So that's the major problem is the voice.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Stay there. Don't say about your strengths. Well, so you found out additional things which you would use even if you were not to contribute to this course. Yes, that is something. And then again, I think you also brought about demonstrating that you could use PowerPoint to produce a video. I think that is a step ahead, which is very good. And I think that you brought in something there that was very significant, and that was good. What else what are you going to improve on next?
Yeah, there are many. The morphing. There are a lot of things involved in the morphing that one would like to really spend time to learn. And just as one of the speakers said earlier, these things need time, and it needs some level of accuracy. It's not something you do haphazardly. If you want a good result, you have to give it good time. But I think it's on-the-job training, something one has to improve as you go ahead. But I really appreciate the challenge and the open door, because I never knew that those things really existed. Apart from transition, I never knew about all that.
I agree with you perfectly. I mean, I have always learned on the job and self-taught system. So this, if I could learn it, then anyone could. I believe strongly about that. And so the key things is, of course, the equal use of font sizes to make a kind of free flow of information will be key. When you're producing a video, make sure your background is, remember very carefully, it's going to come online. So you need a good background. And if you can't, another way is, if you don't have a virtual background, you just go behind, put a wall, a kind of bright wall that wouldn't show anything. That will also, put the video very, very presentable and very exciting. So those are things to work on. But I believe you're going to keep working on yourself until you get to the perfection that will produce a video that will be meet for us. So very good. Well done. That was a nice job. Any comments and for improvement for Dr. Birinus? Anyone was to?
Yes, Ibebulam, laboratory medicine.
Thank you.
I think it's a fair attempt, subject to improvement. But when you are giving information, you have to be careful so that you don't say controversial things like being the mother of medicine. You have to have pathology before you seek medical attention, so that it doesn't spoil the whole idea. You have to be careful so that you don't give wrong information to the society. Thank you very much.
I'm sure Dr. Birinus was just trying.
It's just a demo. It's just a demo. It's not something that should be shared outside. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Noted.
Right. Any more?
Yes. Yes, Dr. Otu. Teresa
Okay.
Otu.
Go ahead,
Good
Teresa.
afternoon. Okay.
Yes, it's coming through now. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is a presentation about immunization by Dr. Chinedu, Community Medicine, Imo State University. Vaccination, the act of introducing vaccines into the body to produce protection from specific diseases. Immunization, the process by which a person becomes immunized against a disease. Vaccine, the preparation that is used to stimulate the body's response, and immunity used to boost ability. Vaccine adjuvant is a substance that's hyper. It's people who are immune from vaccination or previous infection act as a buffer. Immunization is amongst the most cost-effective public health intervention. So we to launch the in 1974. The first EPI diseases were different tuberculosis. EPI was restructured and renamed as the National Program on Immunization into the National Primary Health Care Development Agency in May 2007. In 2019, the World Health Organization declared vaccine resistance to be one of the top threats to public health. Now, routine immunization performance variability has been observed between the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. And looking at the major causes of poor routine immunization performance, we have health facilities failure to carry out fixed and outreach immunization services. We have lack of funding for vaccine distribution. We have supply chain logistic problems, inadequate human resources and limited training, and lack of demand from ignorance. Throughout the lifespan of an individual, vaccines are required. Children, adults, travelers, and pregnant women. Now, the body defenses. We have the first line of defense is the barrier immunity. Second line of defense, innate immunity. Third line of defense, adaptive immunity, which involves, we have passive, active immunity. It involves introducing preformed antibodies to the recipient. The introduction of antibodies could be natural or artificial. Naturally by to the fetus or to the infant through milk and colostrum. Artificially by injecting the recipient with preformed antibodies. Such antibodies, cases where we need the use of antibodies, diphtheria, tetanus, streptococci, measles, rubella, mumps. Now, conditions for passive immunization. Individuals with congenital acquired B-cell defects. Children that have acute respiratory failure caused by respiratory syncytial virus. Children with leukemia exposed to varicella or measles. Conditions such as utilizing tetanus, rabies, poisonous snake bites. Also, healthcare workers. Risk of passive immunization. Risks associated with passive immunization. The recipient could mount a strong response against the antibody. The antibodies introduced to form complexes with your IgG or IgM could also attach to the foreign antibody, resulting in type 3 hypersensitivity. Active immunization. Exposure to a pathogenic agent elicits an immune response accompanied by immunological memory. Active immunization could be natural or artificial. Naturally, when then the host acquires an infection with a microorganism, artificially by administering a vaccine. The immune system results in proliferation of reactive T and B cells, which results in formation of memory cells. Now, the B cells, the naive B cells express antibodies. And this is an example of the B cell and its membrane-bound antibodies. Also, you can see the B cell, when it's activated, it divides into the plasma cell, which secretes antibodies, and also into the memory cell. The T cells, the progenitor T cells, bone marrow, and they migrate to the thymus, and on maturity, express T cell receptors and other receptors such as the CD4 and the CD8. Unlike antibodies, which can bind to the antigens, the T cell receptors can only recognize the major histocompatibility complexes class 1 and 2. These are membrane-bound surface receptors on the antigen-presenting cells like dendritic cells and the macrophages. CD4 and CD8 play a role in T cell recognition. And this is an example of the macrophage, and is attached MCH, and the T cell with its receptor, the T cell receptor, and the CD4 receptor. And the National Program on Immunization Schedule, we have ADBET, BCG, OPV, hepatitis B, pentavalent. At 6 weeks, pneumococcal, OPV. At 10 weeks, the pentavalent, intramuscular, given intramuscularly, pneumococcal, conjugate vaccine, OPV, 2 drugs, rotavirus, and at 14 weeks, pentavalent, pneumococcal, OPV 3, and IPV. And at 6 months, vitamin A first dose, and at 9 months, measles, yellow fever, meningitis, and at 15 months, vitamin A second dose, measles. So we're looking at the vaccine storage and management principles. We have the cold chain system, storing.
I might have to stop here, Chinedu. Yeah. I think you've done brilliant. I think we can stop at this point. Yeah. I think you've done brilliantly. I think because of time to do.
Yes. That's why I was rushing and trying.
Yes, I think you are full of information. We must say. I know you're in transit. Would you, if you can't come online for us to see your video, that's perfect. You can talk with us through how you feel about this. What would you say?
Yeah, it's been a beautiful experience. The lectures were very, very useful, and it gave me the opportunity to explore. It gave me that foundation to explore, and the experience I received from your lecture.
Oh, what a shame! I really like. Okay, it's coming.
Has been remarkable.
Okay,
and this has helped Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, have I stopped? Okay, let me stop sharing the screen.
Yes, Papa, yeah.
Okay.
I think you did very well. I was quite blown off with lots of the ideas, especially when you were showing the problems associated with immunization, and you were showing those, dark areas where those pop-up information coming out of it. It actually gives more than the emotional aspect of the deep trouble associated with the condition. So there is not only a visual display, but there is an emotion linked to it that would actually help the person listening to you to see how things are flowing out. And I think that connection is not common for many people. So you did very well there. What would you improve on?
Yeah, I like some of the slides, like the slide 2, appear to be crowded. So I would find other innovative ways to try to reduce the slide, and make it more interactive. So I think that's what I would do to improve that presentation.
I think that was also good. Yeah, it's just about, you could have the 6 of them there, but like I said, the animation there were a bit excessive. So you could make it to animate it once and then stop, so that somebody who is lazy to listen could actually quickly see what is there at a glance while you say what you want to say. And so that is otherwise perfect. I think looking forward to seeing your video being uploaded onto the e-learning website. Well done. Any comments for Dr. Iwu?
Yeah, hello.
Hello. I can see the first name, Mero.
Yes, that's right.
Thank you.
I think that was brilliant. But I think that the write-up, there is a lot of information on the slides. I think he needs to cut off on that so that he can speak rather than writing it out and then reading it out. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Iwu, you must have heard that.
Yes, that there are a lot of information on the slide.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, not all of them really. There were some of them. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's the. The intention was to lecture notes. So I was looking at a way of how I can reduce the number of slides and at the same time contain as much information as I could convey to students. So yes, I agree. It's there's a lot of information on the slides. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Right.
Sorry, just another observation.
Yes, go ahead.
Perhaps he may show maybe a child with their mouth open and then a drop of the oral polio being administered. That may make it more interesting, I think.
Good. I think you're all taking that.
I totally agree, because in fact I had the pictures of all that, but when I looked at the time and I was considering, but I agree with what she said. Yes.
I think your turnaround time is perfect. You did very well within such a short time. Nobody could be working through the weekend to come out with what you did. So I think you did so much within such a short time. Given a long time, you will produce a great work.
Yes, exactly. Thank you very much. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yes.
Any comments for him more? I think we've spent about an hour now. And I am not sure if all those who were given. Go on.
Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for the delay. It was because I was using a new computer, so I was not really very conversant with it. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My presentation today the topic is Introduction to Hematology. My name, as I have earlier said, is Teresa Otu. I work with the Department of Hematology and Blood Transfusion, University of Abuja, Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada, FCT, Nigeria. This lecture actually was organized by the West African College of Physicians, Nigeria chapter, in collaboration with the Worthy Works Limited, e-learning partnership collaboration. The outlines for today's lecture are introduction and definition of hematology, components of blood and their functions, hemopoietic organs or tissues, and finally, hematological disorders and their management. The objective of the lecture is that at the end of this short lecture, participants should be able to actually understand the concept of hematology, the various components of blood and their functions, the sites or organs of blood formation, and finally, the general modalities of management of hematological disorders. The word hematology is actually coined from two Greek words, haima, which means blood, and logos, studies. So hematology is actually the study of blood-forming organs, blood disorders, and their management. What is blood? Blood is the red liquid fluid that is circulating within the cardiovascular system. This is a picture of blood that is taken from a patient. This blood, when it is centrifuged, it sediments into the various components of blood. You have the plasma. Sorry, let me go back. The first portion of it is the plasma. And the plasma contains proteins, iron. Majority of it is water. About 92% to 96% of plasma is water. It has nutrients, waste products, and gases. The next component, which is the Buffy cord, contains the white blood cells and the platelets, while the last component is the red blood cells. How is blood formed? Hemopoiesis is the formation of blood, and it is formed from the various organs. In the uterus, it is first formed in the yolk sac, and then the fetal liver and the spleen. From about 5 months of conception, the bone marrow becomes the site of hemopoiesis. Hematological disorders and management are divided into primary hematological disorders and secondary hematological disorders. You have the primary disorders of the cellular components, which could be inherited or acquired. You also have the primary disorders of the plasma components. It could also be acquired or congenital. You have the secondary disorders of the cellular components, which are due to non-hematological causes. You also have secondary disorders of plasma, which are also due to non-hematological causes. Management of these disorders depends on their causes, whether they are primary or secondary disorders.
1 more minute.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just timely. Very good. Well done. Come on the screen. And it just came right in time. Well done. I think you were reading our minds. Perfect. You can stop sharing. And right. I mean, sometimes it's good to see the person. That's a good effect, so that we can you give us what you feel, and then we can give you feedbacks.
Well, it's a great experience, and I'm really, really very grateful for this opportunity. Because of the quantum of work, it's not easy to actually sit down and do these things.
No, what good did you do? So you were able to finish within a quick time. That's fine. Yes. What else? What good feeling did you get?
I'm very happy. It's a great opportunity to be able to use this form of media for presenting and teaching students. It's a great way of actually learning.
Thank you. Right. What would you do differently next time? I think before you go into that, I think you use morph very nicely. I have never, when they taught me the Buffycott in medical school as you did here, I wouldn't be struggling. I had to learn it and relearn it again over time. But now it's so clear. Any very basic learner will catch that plasma, Buffycott, and red blood cells very easily. And you can understand PCV and all those things from that appearance very easily. So I think that was a brilliant morphing that I noticed there, which you did. It highlighted specifically what you wanted to convey. It was very good. Right. And so what would you do differently next time?
There are a lot of things I would do. This one is already put up. So I think given the opportunity, actually, if I have time, I would really try and perfect a way to do morphing, and the other, you can realize it's only the first part of morphing that I was able to use in this. The other part where you can use the various one slide and use various colors, I've not had time to do them. So I think I'll continue to practice more and learn how to do a better presentation.
Perfect. Any more comments for Teresa? Yeah, I'm sure. I believe.
As I said,
okay,
those of us not from hematology were really seeing a simplified way of understanding some of those concepts. Thank you very much, Doc. I think I will look forward to listening to you again.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure, Teresa, given the time, will reduce the bullet points into some kind of pictorial demonstrations a bit. And obviously, you really did strongly to avoid reading directly, which is great. In other words, the words were there, but you actually utilize your own voice in making sure that the person listened to you rather than read the information you put across. That was also a significant step in the right direction. So that's good. Well done.
Thank you.
Good. I think it's 16:18. So just about